Hello guys, my name is Evans and welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to continue looking at the IGCSE ICT March 2015 paper 3.1. In the last video, we have been looking at the web authoring section, and in this video, we're starting to look at data analysis section. Okay, so step 22 was the last one, and we're starting with this scenario. You're going to use the most efficient methods to examine and extract data using a spreadsheet. So the exchange rates used by Back to Nature are fixed at the start of every month and stored in the file m1531rates.csv. Step 23. Using a suitable software package, load the file m1531rates.csv. Okay, so let's go to, so our rates file is this one. Just double click on it, and we are going to load it. Okay, so let me just do that so that everything is visible. Now let me go to the question paper. So we've loaded it. Use cells, that's step 24. Use cells A2 to C173 to create a named range called exchange or EXCH. Okay, exchange. Okay, so show how you created this named range in your evidence document. So let's go ahead and create. So it's from A2 to C173. So I'm done with the HTML. Let me just close this part because I'm done with the HTML. So let's go to Excel, and from A2 all the way to C170, the last one, just 170. Okay, 173. Okay, and out of this we create a named range. Okay, so create or define name, and then give it the name X, like that. Now we're told to show evidence of how we created this, so I'm going to get a screenshot. Now make sure that before I get the screenshot, make sure that the table that you've selected, it's from absolute A2 to absolute C173. So that means that this is the table that your table array, and it will not change. So just select this table, get this one, copy it, and paste it. So the step that asks you to do that is step number 24. So go ahead and paste in evidence document step 24 and paste that. Okay, that should be good. Next we are supposed to say okay. Say okay. Yeah, in fact the window that you should have captured is this one. No, yeah, it's the same window. I was thinking it was going to show, instead of showing new name on top, it was going to show exchange, but that should be fine. Next step, step 25. Save this file so that the named range can be used in step 28 and step 29. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to save it as an Excel document. So I'll say save as. This is where somebody was asking me that is it right to rename these files? For example, the question says here is that save this file so that the named range can be used in step 28 and 29. Now the problem is that you've not been told the file name to give it as you rename it. Okay, so I'm not going to rename it, but I'm going to change it as an Excel file. Okay, because I'm going to use it for my Excel work throughout. It's not necessary that you should change it, but it just feels right that you change it. Okay, so even if you didn't change it, it was going to work out perfectly, but I'm just going to change it into an Excel document. Okay, say okay. Now step number we're done with step 25, we're going to step 26. Using a suitable software package, load the file m1 531project.csv and you save this as a spreadsheet. And this time we've been told specifically to save it as a spreadsheet. So open it and go ahead and save it as a spreadsheet. So it may bear the same name, but I'm going to save it as a spreadsheet. That's the difference. Okay. Next, step 27, place your name, center number and candidate number in the center of the header. So place your name, center number and candidate number in the center of the header, and place the automated file name and path on the right in the footer. So let's go ahead and do that. So in this file, insert in the header, in the center, you're going to put your name, Chikasa Evans, ZM556, let it be capital 556 and 0001. Okay, so then you need to go to footer, and right aligned you need to insert file name and path. So get this one, it says path and file. Okay, so that should be fine. Next we go to we're going to go to step 28. Enter a function in cell E3 to look up the table or to look up the name of the local currency for the project location. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to come here. We are looking at the project location. Okay, this one here. Let me just put that. So what we're trying to do, of course, like I've said in the other videos, is that when we are getting the values from this other workbook, and the question arises oftentimes: how do you identify whether you're supposed to use VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP or just lookup? Okay, and I've for some reason explained that when you have more rows than columns, then you are going to use a VLOOKUP. When you have more columns than rows, then you're going to use the HLOOKUP. Okay, so in this case we have more rows than we have the number of columns. We just have 3 columns, and we have actually over 100 and just about 173 rows. So that definitely tells you you're going to use VLOOKUP. Okay, so we the lookup value that we have is this one, the project location, which is the lookup value, and okay, so the local currency, we're trying to retrieve the local currency, so we're looking up the local currency using the project location. So what's happening is that we need to compare the project location where there is a match again in this other table for the location. Then we're going to retrieve the currency. Okay, so the country, we match it, and if we find there is a match, for example, in our case here we have South Africa or Tanzania, whichever we'll find first. So we have okay, they are arranged in alphabetical order. Suppose we have Algeria, and we found Algeria, then we need to retrieve the currency, which is the Algerian dinar. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to type in E3 like we were told. So we say VLOOKUP, and then the lookup value is this one, which is C3, comma, the table array. Now the table array is coming from a different workbook, so we need to go to that workbook and select the name of the workbook. Okay, so just not double click, just click there once, and then get the array that you want. So remember, we created a named range called exchange, and so this one selects that table, and then press comma on your keyboard. Now the column index is the value that you want to retrieve, which is the lookup value. In this one we want the local currency, so this is column B, and which is you count from your left going to the right. So the first column is column 1, and the second column is column 2. So we have 2. Okay, so we want to retrieve that, and then you have whether you want to retrieve an exact match or you want to retrieve an approximate match. In this case we want an exact match. Okay, now there are other ways that you can retrieve this, or you can select this, and it's going to work out perfectly and it's still going to be fine. Maybe I can use this opportunity to show you the same method. I hope it works out, but if we do this, you'll see that it retrieves South African Rand. Okay, now let me just show you the other method that you guys can use. Of course, it is, let me just get this one, copy it, so that because this one is the one I'm going to be using, I'm going to type it out there in case I forget. So I'll delete it, and what we want now is to insert the formula. So you're going to go to formula tab here and look up for VLOOKUP. Okay, so you may not have a VLOOKUP here. The reason I have VLOOKUP here is because I have used VLOOKUP for most of the videos that I've been recording, so it is among the most recent functions. But you can get it, it's on a lookup and reference, and then you can scroll down and you find VLOOKUP just at the end there. If you are using HLOOKUP, it should also be among them. So VLOOKUP, and say okay, then it opens this window and tells you which one is your lookup value. Then you can go there and say, hey, my lookup value is this one, and go back there, and it picks up this one. They say, hey, which one is your table array? Say, oh, my table array is supposed to be from another table. Now this is where it gets interesting, because you get this one and then you need to type exchange at the end there for the table array that you, for the name range that you created, and say okay, that is mine. Then you say, oh, which one is your column index? You say, oh, my column index, it's supposed to be from this other table, but it's supposed to be column 2. So you type 2 and say okay, go back there. And which one is your range lookup? Okay, then this one is a logical text, and it's going to return either true or false. So you need to either write 0 or false. So I'll write 0 to make it false. If you write 1, then it makes it true, and then you go ahead and hit OK, and you see that it also retrieves South African Rand. And the same formula that we retrieved, the one that I copied initially, is the same one that has been retrieved here. So it's you guys to decide which one you want. But I love the one to type, because the one to type actually gives you the control, so to say, because in the theory paper you'll be asked, you guys, about questions about the VLOOKUP and all. If you're just using to click in there, it'll be very difficult for you actually to know what is happening at every stage of the VLOOKUP function. But for this one, it will work out perfectly fine. Okay, so that is done with step 28. So the part says replicate this function so that the name of the local currency is shown for each project. So what you're going to do now is to just replicate this formula. Now you can just get this one and drag all the way down. If you want, you can hold your control key plus enter and double click there, and it's going to just populate this one. Okay, let me show you. I hold control key and enter key on my keyboard and double click on this one, and you see that it automatically populates all these other fields. But the only challenge with this kind of method is that every other part, now if I, for example, if I put 650 here, it will automatically put something here. Okay, no, it didn't put in this case, it didn't put, but that should be perfectly fine. But in many instances, what it does is that it populates also these other columns or other cells that are here, so much that if any value enters here, it will also be put there. But this should be perfectly fine. Okay, and next thing that we're supposed to do is let's go to the next step. Step 29, replicate a function, or not replicate a function, enter a function in cell F3 to look up the exchange rate of the local currency for the project. Okay, and replicate this function so that the exchange rate is shown for each project. Okay, so again, we're going to do that. Now this time around, we are retrieving the exchange rate. Okay, so we are looking up the exchange rate using the local currency, okay, that we have, and we pick up the exchange rather using the project, then we pick up the exchange rate. In other words, nothing is going to change much about this formula compared to the one that we did. So just put in F3, and again for the sake of those that didn't see what I did in the other video or the other part for the formula, go to formulas if you want, and then you can go to insert function, and then you go to lookup and reference, and go to the last option, which is VLOOKUP, and then say OK, and it opens up that. Now select the lookup value. In this case, our lookup value is still going to be the same project location, which is South Africa. Okay, not South Africa, C3, and then C3. I don't know if I've done the right thing. Yeah, then C3, then that is your lookup value. Then your array is going to come from this other table, and select it there and type exchange there at the end. Then go back there, the column index, but this time the column index is also coming from the other table, but the column index is column 3, which is where the rate is supposed to be. So just type 3 there, and the last one is range lookup, which is a logical. It's supposed to be either true or false. In this case, we want it to be false, so we just type 0. Okay, 0. So 0 makes it false, and say OK, and there you go, it retrieves this. So the other thing is we're told to replicate this formula. So hold Control on your keyboard, hold Enter key on your keyboard, and double click there, and it replicates these values there. Okay, so that should be fine. Next step, and I'll probably end with this step in this video so that it is not too long. So enter a formula in cell G3 to calculate the value of the donations in the local currency, and again replicate this formula so that the values of the donations is shown in for each project. So let's come back here, and the value for the donation is this one, and the exchange is this one, the exchange rate is this one. So the other thing that you should note is that the donation is in US dollars. Okay, so you're going to multiply because you're converting these from the dollar to the local currency, and so the exchange rate is that for $1 you have 9.9 for the South African rand, and so you just say equal to, and then you multiply now this cell, okay, multiply by this cell, and hit enter key. So once you select this one, hold Control key on your keyboard, hold Enter key also, and double click, and it should replicate automatically for these other ones. In the theory paper, you are usually asked to indicate how you'd replicate a formula, and one of the things that you can do is to just hold click and hold there and drag down, or you can hold Enter key, hold Control key, and then double click on the bottom corner of that drop that you see just down here, and it is going to replicate that formula. Okay, so in this video, guys, I'm going to end with step number 30, and in the next video we're going to pick up with step number 31, and this is where we have to do with the formatting of the different columns and all. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you just in a short while as we look at step number 31.